response to that deadly school shooting in Nashville, Oregon House Republicans are putting forth a Safe Schools package. It's comprised of several bills aimed at making schools safer.
Only on Fox 12, our Chandler Watkins sat down with the Oregon Republican House leader and deputy leader to discuss this package, as well as their thoughts on the tragedy in Nashville. She joins us live in Salem with more now. Chandler?
Both lawmakers and parents themselves were together when the tragic news came out of Nashville. And that's why the Safe Schools package came about as a result. It's made up of 7 bills that have already been introduced, with at least 2 receiving bipartisan support.
And you know, we do a lot in this building. We deliberate, we debate on a lot of different issues, but ultimately we know the most important things are our kids and our families. And so that's why our heart stopped for just a moment and the realization hit us.
We need to make this a priority inside this building, and we have the tools in front of us to do it. And these bills were already in existence, and they're things that we can utilize to protect our kids.
Following a deadly school shooting in Nashville, Republican lawmakers in Oregon are proposing a Safe Schools package comprised of 7 bills. House Bill 2223 would require the Department of Education to transfer funds to the necessary school districts to pay for school resource officers. House Bill 3354 would have the Department of Education conduct a study on hiring retired police officers to provide security in public schools. House Bill 2704 would require school districts that have a policy limiting possession of firearms by concealed handgun licensees on school grounds to install metal detectors at entrances to buildings. House Bill 3261 would direct the Department of Education to conduct a study to identify sources of funding to pay for establishing a secure single-point entry for each public school. House Bill 3350 would have the Department of Education conduct a study to identify costs and possible funding sources to improve school safety. House Bill 3584 would direct school districts to provide electronic communication to parents and guardians of students if there is a safety threat at their school. And House Bill 3101 would require schools to have at least one panic alarm in every school building. Both say when it comes to potentially funding these bills, if they're passed,
budgets reflect priorities.
And we are just starting to talk about budgets. So what are the priorities for this state? As 2 moms, I think our kids are at the top of the list.
Absolutely. And we can find the money in order to keep our kids safe.
both say it's about taking preventative measures, and that's going to take having conversations across the aisle. They say while bills in their package have received bipartisan support, Senate Bill 348 is a fully partisan effort. In Salem, Chandler Watkins, Fox 12 Oregon.